Hey everybody, welcome to the Wheel of Shakespeare Challenge for the final Saturday of May. Looks like I'm froze up there. So welcome everybody. We have a new participant with us today. He was having is John, okay, good. John is back. Did you figure out what the problem was?
Well, no, not exactly. What I've done is just simply opened another tab, and I can access the scene from there.
Good. Yeah, that's what I do. I open another tab.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was suggesting. So great. We have a new participant with us today. We'll have you go last with the monologues because we had the predetermined order. But then when we do scenes, I'll put you on the wheel, and you'll have just as great a chance as anybody else to come up on it. So before we get started, would you like to introduce yourself to the group and to anybody watching? Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you found out about us, and what you're.
Well, I was involved with some theater, just community theater some time ago. But since I've been retired, I've been kind of doing this with the Zoom and so forth. And so strictly an amateur, but I found out about this, I think, from Maggie, who I think is a regular, and she told me about this some time ago. And I have been just kind of like lurking and looking and watching it. So I'm very glad to be here. I really enjoyed this very much.
Good. We're glad you like it, and we're glad to have you here. So look forward to the game today. So anyway, based on the predetermined order that was randomly selected by the wheel, Alex was chosen to go first. So let's put in this ring. Alex is going to perform first, and he is going to do. Okay, Richard II. I have been studying how this prison. Okay, the banner for that. It's Act 5, Scene 5. It's the start of the scene.
All right.
So whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. I have been studying how I may compare this prison where I live unto the world. And for because the world is populous, and here is not a creature but myself, I cannot do it. Yet, I'll hammer it out. My brain, I'll prove the female to my soul the father, and these two beget a generation of still breeding thoughts. And these, some thoughts people, this little world, in humors like the people of this world. For no thought is contented. The better sort, as thoughts of things divine, are intermixed with scruples, and do set the world itself against the word, as thus. Come, little ones, and then again. It is as hard to come as for a camel to tread the postern of a small needle's eye. Thoughts tending to ambition, they do plot unlike wonders. How these vain weak nails may tear a passage throughout the filthy ribs of this hard world, my wrecked prison walls. And for they cannot die in their own pride. Thoughts tending to content flatter themselves that they are not the first of fortune's slaves, nor shall not be the last. Like silly beggars who sitting in the sockets refuge their shame that many have and others must sit there. And in this thought they find a kind of ease bearing their own misfortunes on the back of such as have before endured the like. Thus play I in one person many people, and none contented. Sometimes am I king, then treasons make me wish myself a beggar, and so I am. Then crushing penury persuades me I was better when a king. Then I'm kinged again, and by think that I am unkinged by Bolingbroke, and straight am nothing. But whatever I be, nor I, nor any man that but man is, with nothing shall be pleased, till he be eased with being nothing. Music do I hear? Ha ha! Keep time! Now how sour sweet music is when time is broke and no proportion kept. Ah, so is it in the music of men's lives, and here have I the daintiest of ear to check time broke in a disordered string. But for the concord of my state and time had not an ear to hear my true time broke. I wasted time, and now the time waste me. For now had time made me his numbering clock. My thoughts are minutes, and with sighs they jar their watches on unto mine eyes. The outward watch whereto my finger, like a dial's point, is pointing still, in cleansing them from tears. Now, sir, the sound that tells what hour it is are clamorous groans which strike upon my heart, which is the bell. So sighs and tears and groans show minutes, times, and hours. But my time runs posting on in Bolingbroke's proud joy, while I stand fooling here. His jack of the clock, this music mads me, let it sound no more, for though it hath helped madmen to their wits, it seems it will make wise men mad. Yet blessing on his heart that gives it me, for 'tis a sign of love, and love to Richard is a strange brooch in this all-hating world.
Very, very nice. Okay, so up next we have Henry and then Eleanor. Now, Alex, this is a message I just got. It popped up. Again, I always say we should be so lucky as to have this be a problem. I mean, it's great that we keep growing and growing. I knew that with the free version of StreamYard, I can only have 6 people on screen at a time. But apparently, I have a limit of 10 people I can have in the studio at one time. And it says one more person's trying to get in. It says I have to ask, Alex, since you just went and it's going to be a while before we see you again, are you able, would you mind, you can still follow along with us. You can take yourself out of the studio and put yourself back in after logs. Okay, so that's great. So that's for you and for everyone else, that if we get more than 10 people that are playing at a time and one person has to take themselves out of the studio temporarily to let everybody in, that's just something that we can keep in mind. So thank you. It was very nice. And we will now go to Henry.
Can you hear me, Mark?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can't see.
Yes, my camera. It says I can't access my camera for some reason or other.
That's too bad. So, well, we can still hear you, so that you can still perform your monologue that way. Okay. Right. So the monologue Henry will perform, even though we can't see him, will be Tamora from Titus Andronicus. The first scene begins with "Not so, my lord."
1-1, Titus.
Yeah.
So who is Tamora?
The queen of the Goths, and then she marries the emperor. The evil queen, and the mother of forgetting the names, the 2 boys that rape and mutilate Titus's daughter and then frame.
So this would be starting with "Stay, Roman Brethren."
I believe it starts with "Not so, my lord." Let me.
So it's Titus 1-1.
Yeah, it's a long scene. That's kind of should have got the. I think it's toward the end of the scene.
Well, here we are. Not so, my lord. Yes. Okay, got it.
Okay, you got it? Okay, great. Whenever you're ready, go.
Not so, my lord. The gods of Rome forfend I should be author to dishonour you. But on mine honour dare I undertake for good Lord Titus' innocence in all, whose fury not dissembled speaks his griefs. Then at my suit look graciously on him. Lose not so noble a friend in vain suppose, nor with sour looks afflict his gentle heart. Be won at last. Dissemble all your griefs and discontents, you are but newly planted in your throne. Lest then the people and patricians too upon a just survey take Titus' part, and so supplant you for ingratitude, which Rome reputes to be a heinous sin, yet yield at entreats. And then let me alone. I'll find a day to massacre them all, and raise their faction and their family. The cruel father and his traitorous sons, to whom I sued for my dear son's life, and make them know what 'tis to let a queen kneel in the streets and beg for grace in vain. Come, come, sweet emperor, come, Andronicus, take up this good old man, and cheer the heart that dies in tempest of thy angry frown. Whew.
Okay. Wish we
That was colder than the North Pole for me.
And that's fine. Even though we couldn't see you, and even though it was totally cold, then it was still very nice. Anyway, looks like so Alex left us long enough to let that other person. It doesn't look like they joined they probably gave up when they couldn't get in the first time. And that's too bad. Whoever that was that couldn't get in. But I think what I'll do is I'll make that as an announcement in the email list this week. To if we have more than 10 people trying to get in at one time, we'll figure out some kind of method for taking turns so that everybody is included in the game. So anyway, up next we have Eleanor, and then Elizabeth is on deck. So Eleanor is going to perform. Bennedick, I do much wonder about Much Ado About Nothing, Act 2, Scene 3. It's toward the very beginning after that.
Hold on. I'll find Much Ado. Act 2, Scene 3.
So the scene starts with that part that God knows why they put it in, or he asked the servant to go fetch him a book, and then he leaves, and then he goes into his monologue.
What's the opening line?
I do much wonder. Yeah.
I see it. Okay.
Okay. So whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Okay. I do much wonder that one man, seeing how much another man is a fool when he dedicates his behaviors to love, will, after he hath laughed at such shallow follies in others, become the argument of his own scorn by falling in love. And such a man is Claudio. I've known when there was no music with him but the drum and the fife, and now had he rather hear the tabor and the pipe. I've known when he would have walked 10 miles afoot to see a good armor, and now will he lie 10 nights awake carving the fashion of a new doublet. He was wont to speak plain and to the purpose, like an honest man and a soldier. And now is he turned orthography. His words are a very fantastical banquet, just so many strange dishes. May I be so converted and see with these eyes? I cannot tell. I think not. I will not be sworn, but love may transform me to an oyster. But I'll take my oath on it till he have made an oyster of me. He shall never make me such a fool. One woman is fair, yet I am well. Another is wise, yet I am well. Another virtuous, yet I am well. But till all graces be in one woman shall not come in my grace. Rich she shall be, that's certain. Wise, or I'll none. Virtuous, or I'll never cheapen her. Fair, or I'll never look on her. Mild, or come not near me. Noble, or not I for an angel. Of good discourse, an excellent musician, and her hair shall be of what color it please God. Ha! The prince and monsieur love, I will hide me in the arbor.
Very nice. Okay, so up next we have Elizabeth, and Bill is on deck after her. So Elizabeth will perform Launcelot. I don't think anybody's done this one. This is one that's been on the reel for a long time, but it's never been spun. So I've been looking forward to this one. So Launcelot.
Wow, this
Act 2.
this is a cold read. What does the line say? Certainly
my conscience will serve. I believe it's the very top of the scene, Act 2, Scene 2. This is Shylock's servant debating about fleeing from his service, about serving the Jew.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Certainly my conscience will serve me to run from this Jew, my master. The fiend is at mine elbow and tempts me, saying to me, Gobbo, Launcelot Gobbo, good Launcelot, or good Gobbo, or good Launcelot Gobbo, use your legs, take the start, run away. My conscience says, no, take heed, honest Launcelot, take heed, honest Gobbo, or as foresaid, honest Launcelot Gobbo, do not run, scorn running with thy heels. Well, the most courageous fiend bids me pack. Via, says the fiend. Away, says the fiend. For the heavens, rouse up a brave mind, says the fiend, and run. While my conscience, hanging about the neck of my heart, says very wisely to me, my honest friend Launcelot, being an honest man's son, or rather an honest woman's son, for indeed my father did something smack, something grow to. He had a kind of taste. Well, my conscience says, Launcelot, budge not. Budge, says the fiend. Budge not, says the conscience. Conscience, I say, you counsel well. Fiend, say I, you counsel well. To be ruled by my conscience, I should stay with the Jew, my master, who, God bless the mark, is a kind of devil. And to run away from the Jew, I should be ruled by the fiend, who, saving your reverence, is the devil himself. Certainly the Jew is the very devil incarnal, and in my conscience is but a kind of hard conscience to offer to counsel me to stay with the Jew. The fiend gives the more friendly counsel. I will run, fiend. My heels are at your command. I will run.
That's awesome. I mean, both you and Henry, for something that was totally cold, you still nailed it. So, I mean, that's the idea of the activity, that we show that we're good enough actors that even if it is totally cold, we can still really nail it. Okay,
That's
great.
That's why it's called a challenge.
That's why it's the Wheel of Shakespeare challenge, and you met the challenge very nicely. Okay, so Bill is up and Sheila on deck. So there he is. And Bill is going to the wheel. Bill is going to perform. Polonius. I just added this to the wheel this week. It should have been here before. I can't believe I forgot to add it. The "To Thine Own Self Be True" monologue, but it begins with "Yet Here Laertes."
Okay.
Okay, so whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Yet here, Laertes, aboard, aboard, for shame, the wind sits in the shoulder of your sail, and you are stayed for. There, my blessing with thee. And these few precepts in thy memory, look thou character. Give thy thoughts no tongue, nor any unproportioned thought his act. Be thou familiar, but by no means vulgar. Those friends thou hast and their adoption tried, grapple them to thy soul with hoops of steel. Be not dull, do not dull thy palm with entertainment of each new hatched unfledged comrade. Beware the entrance of to a quarrel, but being in, bear that the opposed may beware of thee. Give every man thy ear, but few thy voice. Take each man's censure, but reserve thy judgment. Costly thy habit as thy purse can buy, but not expressed in fancy. Rich, not gaudy, for the apparel oft proclaims the man, and they in France of the best rank and station are of a most select and generous chief in that. Neither a borrower nor a lender be. For loan often loses both itself and friend, and borrowing dulls the edge of husbandry. This, above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man. Farewell, my blessing season this in thee.
Awesome. Okay, so up next we have Sheila, and Ted is on deck.
Oh, Mark, I hope Alex is back. I want to say I've been having some computer problems and
Yes,
struggling.
Alex is back.
Oh,
So,
good. It might have been me signing in twice by mistake, so
okay.
that might have been what caused a bit of confusion.
Great. Okay, so Sheila is going to perform. Queen Margaret, the paper. Did you do this one before? I know I took it out of retirement a week or so ago. Somebody has already done it before, but I don't know. Can't remember if it was you. Margaret.
I don't recall doing it.
Okay, well then then I'd love to hear you do it then.
And I go all the way down to take him to do him dead.
Henry VI, Part 3, Act 1, Scene 4. Let me see if I get the Act 1, Scene 4. It's a long monologue where they've. Oh, wait a minute. And she's captured the Duke of York, and she's taunting him, having him put a paper crown on his head. Let's see. It. Yeah, includes the stage direction about putting a paper. So it would start. Starts with brave warriors, Clifford and Northumberland.
Got it.
Brave war. So okay. So whenever you're ready, go.
Brave warriors, Clifford and Northumberland, come, make him stand upon this molehill here that wrought at mountains with outstretched arms, yet parted but the shadow with his hand. Huh. What? Was it you that would be England's king? Was it you that revelled in our parliament and made a preachment of your high descent? Where are your mess of sons to back you now? The wanton Edward and the lusty George? And where that valiant crook-backed prodigy, Dicky, your boy, that with his grumbling voice was wont to cheer his dad in mutinies, or with the rest? Where is your darling Rutland? Look, York, I stained this napkin with the blood that valiant Clifford, with his rapier's point, made issue from the bosom of the boy. And if thine eyes can water for his death, I give thee this, to dry thy cheeks withal. Alas, poor York, but that I hate thee deadly, I should lament thy miserable state. I prithee grieve to make me merry, York. What hath thy fiery heart so parched thine entrails that not a tear can fall for Rutland's death? Why art thou patient, man? Thou shouldst be mad. And I, to make thee mad, do mock thee thus. Stamp, raven, fret, that I may sing and dance. Thou would be feed, I see, to make my sport. York cannot speak unless he wear a crown. A crown for York. And lords, bow low to him, hold you his hands while I do set it on. Ay, marry, sir, now looks he like a king. And this is he that took King Henry's chair. And this is he with his adopted heir. But how is it that great Plantagenet is crowned so soon and broke his solemn oath? As I bethink me, you should not be king till our King Henry had shook hands with death. And will you pale your head in Henry's glory and rob his temples of the diadem now, in his life, against your holy oath? Oh, 'tis a fault too unpardonable. Off with the crown, and with the crown his head, and whilst we breathe, take time to do him dead.
That's such a great monologue for people that like play those kind of roles. Okay, that's awesome. Up next, we have, so Ted is up, and I am on deck after him. Ted is going to perform. Gertrude, there is about Ophelia's death. Okay. I believe it's
Hamlet 4:7.
or scene 7. I believe it's the very end of the scene.
Starts with what?
There is a willow. Oh, actually, no. There's a little bit up. Yeah, there is a willow grows aslant a brook, and it ends with melodious late and muddy death.
Okay.
Describing Ophelia's death. So whenever you're ready, go ahead.
There is a willow grows aslant a brook that shows his hoar leaves in the glassy stream. There with fantastic garlands did she come, of crowflowers, nettles, daisies, and long purples, that liberal shepherds give a grosser name, but our cold maids do dead men's fingers call them. Envious sliver broke, when down her weedy trophies and herself fell in the weeping brook, her clothes spread wide, and mermaid-like, a while they bore her up, which time she chanted snatches of us, as one incapable of her own distress, or like a creature native and endued unto that element. But long it could not be, till that her garments, heavy with their drink, pulled the poor wretch from her melodious lay to muddy death.
Okay, nice. Too bad for the bad connection, but otherwise very good. So I'm up next, and then Danielle is on deck. So myself, Danielle, and then our new player, John. And then we'll go on to scenes. So I will be doing... Oh, hateful hand. Okay, so Julia and Two Gentlemen of Verona. Okay, sorry, it took me so long. Nay, would I were so angered with the same. Oh, hateful hands to tear such loving words, injurious wasps to feed on such sweet honey, and kill the bees that yield it with your strings. I'll kiss each several paper for amends. Look, here is writ, love wounded Proteus, poor wounded name. My bosom as a bed shall lodge thee till the wound be thoroughly healed. And thus I search with a sovereign kiss. But twice or thrice was Proteus written down. Be calm, Goodwin, blow not a word away till I have found each circle in the letter, except mine own name. That some whirlwind bear unto a ragged, fearful hanging rock, and throw it thence into the raging sea. Lo, here is one line in his name twice writ, Poor forlorn Proteus, passionate Proteus, to the sweet Julia, but I'll tear away. And yet I will not, sith so prettily he couples it with his complaining names. Thus will I fold them one on another. Now kiss, embrace, contend. Do what you will. Okay, thank you. That was a fun gender-bending role. So we have Danielle. Where did she? Oh, Danielle's not with us today. I didn't realize that. That's too bad. Okay, so that leaves John, our newest player. John gets to perform, and let's see, John will do. Okay, so John is going to do. Okay, a last poor Hamlet. So it's a last poor Yorick monologue. Act 5, Scene 1.
Okay. Hamlet, I am getting an enormous amount of audio problem. Is anybody else getting that? I got noise coming out.
Okay, that's unfortunate about whatever sound difficulties John was having that kept him from joining us. Hopefully we'll get that fixed before next week. Sorry you watched us all and couldn't join us, whatever was happening, the difficulty, but oh well. Anyway, back to the wheel. We will now proceed to scenes. The first scene that we pre-spun last week is Henry IV, Part 1, the battle sequence, and change the layout here so it's good. So other scenes we'll do for our remaining players will be Twelfth Night, Olivia and Viola, Act 3, Scene 1. Olivia and Viola. Then we'll do Antony and Cleopatra, the two title characters, Act 1, Scene 3. And then one more scene, which I think will give a role to everybody. The Tempest. Tempest, Ferdinand and Miranda, that's the one, Work Not So Hard, and Prospero is there. We'll cut Prospero so we get just the interaction between the two lovers. Ferdinand and Miranda. Okay, and one thing I am going to ask, I don't mean to be the party pooper of telling people limiting their choices, but since Henry is not able to come on camera, I will ask that when he is spun, that even if you have a first choice, that you choose something from one of the 3 scenes that we just did, because the one that we knew we were going to do in advance, there's a lot of good. Oh wait, Never mind. Henry, it looks like his camera's on now. I was going to say that we're going to lose a lot in that scene by not seeing you. Like if you get Cassius Falstaff seeing you play dead and so forth, that would be a lot of fun. But it looks like Henry fixed whatever problems he had with his camera, so you can disregard that. So anyway, so we have 4 scenes. We have Henry IV, Part 1, Act 5, Scene 4, the battle with It'll be Prince Hal, Hotspur, Falstaff, and Duke John, Duke of Lancaster, the younger prince, Hal's brother. We have Olivia and Viola in Twelfth Night. We have Antony and Cleopatra together in Act 1, Scene 3 of that play. And we have Ferdinand and Miranda in The Tempest. Those are the roles to choose from. And let's now go to the wheel to decide the order in which we'll choose. Remove the people that aren't here. Paul and Maggie aren't here. Okay, so the first choice amongst those roles is going to be made by, and what do you know, Henry? His first choice. After what Henry, what would you like?
I'll do Hal. I'll do Henry.
Okay, awesome. So
can you just tell me what act and scene it is again?
Act 5, Scene 4. I believe it starts. It starts with we're going to start from where he and Hotspur are about to fight. I believe "Thou art Harry of Monmouth." Hotspur says that. I think that's the line that we'll start with. I believe thou art Harry of Monmouth.
And
okay.
Sorry again. Which Henry play is it?
Henry IV, Part 1.
Okay.
Okay. Next choice of roles will be made by Elizabeth. There she is.
Going to take.
Elizabeth, what would you like?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I'm thinking. I think there's so many good choices.
Uh-huh.
I think I'm going to do Miranda.
Okay. Elizabeth will be Miranda. Next choice will be made by. Oh, Danielle's not here. I forgot to remove her. Julia, what would you like?
What's the scene in Twelfth Night?
Olivia and Viola. It's Act 3, Scene 1.
Okay, in the garden. I see Viola. Oh, there they go. Okay. I'll do Viola.
Okay. Next choice Ed, what would you like?
I'll do The Tempest, Ferdinand.
Okay. Ed will be Ferdinand. Next choice will be Alex. Alex, what would you like?
I would like to do the Fat Knight, Falstaff.
Falstaff, of course. Does your host always get the last choice? Eleanor.
So, Shirley is doing Viola, so I'll do Olivia.
Okay. Okay. I will take Hotspur. So I'll be Hotspur. And that leaves okay, so Antony, so Bill will spin for who gets to go a second time and play Cleopatra. Bill, I'm assuming you'll take Antony.
Did somebody take Prince Henry?
Yeah, Henry took Prince Henry.
Okay.
You'll take Antony.
Anthony? Yeah.
Okay, and so let me go back to the wheel here. One randomly selected player. I'll put all the names back on the wheel here. Will get to perform a second time and be Cleopatra. And that person will be, so the person who will perform with Bill will be right on the line, Henry. So Henry gets to go twice. So the Antony and Cleopatra scene will be Bill and Henry. So we'll start with the scene from Henry Part 1, Hal and Hotspur. So we have Hal, Hotspur. Yeah, let's see the four. Let me see. Bill out.
What's the first line again?
I think I will start at Hotspur. I'll start off with "Thou art Harry of Mon." See, Hal is Henry. Len. Oh, you know what? There's one more role that wasn't cast. I'm sorry. We didn't cast Lancaster yet. So let me. Prince Henry's younger brother. Let me rebuild that. Bill, did you want to take that one? Did you want to take Lancaster in Henry IV instead of the one I gave you, saying it was the only one that was left? Because I was wrong about that.
Sure.
Okay. In that case, we'll just cut the Antony and Cleopatra scene. That way, everyone has a part. That way, between the three scenes, Henry IV, Twelfth Night, and the Tempest, everyone has a part. So it works out perfectly. I forgot about the Duke of Lancaster scene. So let's see. These are the four of us that are going to be in that scene. Henry.
So it begins at Hotspur's entrance, does it?
Yes.
Yeah, it begins with Hotspur's entrance. Sorry, let me. I'm running this. So I have to.
Love the costume, Alex.
Thank you. A helmet for battle.
Oh shoot! I brought.
What have I got?
And I have a sword.
Okay, so it's Enter Hotspur. If I mistake not, thou art Harry Monmouth. Everyone's got that as where we're starting.
Yes.
So let me take everybody, but so Falstaff comes into the scene later. It starts. Oh darn! I should have brought the costumes. So it starts with just Hotspur and Henry on stage. So I'll go. You ready, Henry?
Yep.
If I mistake not, thou art Harry Monmouth.
Thou speakst as if I would deny my name.
My name, Harry Percy.
Why, then I see, a very valiant rebel of the name. I am the Prince of Wales, and think not, Percy, to share with me in glory any more. 2 stars keep not their motion in one sphere, nor can England brook a double reign of Harry Percy and the Prince of Wales.
Nor shall it, Harry, for the hour is come to end the one of us, and would to God thy name and arms were now as great as mine.
I'll make it greater ere I part from thee, and all the budding honours on thy crest I'll crop to make a garland for my head.
I can no longer brook thy vanities.
Ah! Ah!
Well said. Ha! Do it how? Nay, you shall find no boys' play here, I can tell you.
Oh, Harry, thou hast robbed me of my youth. I better brook the loss of brittle life than those proud titles thou hast won of me. They wound my thoughts worse than sword my flesh. Thoughts the slave of life, and life time's fool, and time that takes survey of all the world must have a stop. Oh, I could prophesy, but that the earthly and cold hand of death lies on my tongue. No, Percy, thou art dust, and food for
worms, brave Percy. Fare thee well, great heart. I'll weave ill-weaved ambition, how much art thou shrunk. When that this body did contain a spirit, a kingdom for it was too small a bound. But now 2 paces of the vilest earth is room enough. This earth that bears thee dead bears not alive so stout a gentleman. If thou wert sensible of courtesy, I should not make so dear a show of zeal. But let my favours hide thy mangled face, and even in thy behalf I thank myself for doing these fair rites of tenderness. Adieu, and take thy praise with thee to heaven. Thy ignominy sleep with thee in the grave, and not remembered in thy epitaph. What, old acquaintance, could not all this flesh keep in a little life? Oh, poor Jack. Farewell. I could have better spared a better man. Oh, I should have a heavy miss of thee if I were much in love with vanity. Death hath not struck so fat a deer today, though many dearer in his bloody fray. Embowelled will I see thee by and by. Till then, in blood, by noble Percy lie.
Embowelled? If thou were embowelled me today, I'll give you leave to powder me and eat me too, tomorrow. Is blood 'twas time to counterfeit, or that hot termagant Scott had paid me Scott and lot too? Counterfeit? I lie, I'm no counterfeit. To die is to be a counterfeit. For he is but the counterfeit of a man who had not the life of a man. But to counterfeit dying, when a man thereby liveth, is to be no counterfeit, but the true and perfect image of life itself, indeed. The better part of valor is discretion, in the which better part I have saved my life. Zounds, I am afraid of this gunpowder Percy, though he be dead. How, if he should counterfeit too and rise? By my fate, I am afraid he would prove the better counterfeit. Therefore, I'll make him sure. Yea, I'll swear I killed him. Why may not he rise as well as I? Nothing confutes me but his eyes, and nobody sees me. Therefore, sirrah. with a new wound in your thigh, coming along with me.
Come, brother John, full bravely hast thou fleshed thy maiden sword.
But soft, whom have we here? Did you not tell me this fat man was dead?
I did. I saw him dead, breathless and bleeding on the ground. Art thou alive, or is it fantasy that plays upon our eyesight? I prithee speak. We will not trust our eyes without our ears. Thou art not what thou seemst.
No, that's certain. I am not a double man, but if I be not Jack Falstaff, then I am a Jack. There is Percy. If your father will do me any honor, so, if not, let him kill the next Percy himself. I look to be either Earl or Duke, I can assure you.
Why, Percy, I killed myself and saw thee dead.
Didst thou? Lord, Lord, how this world is given to lying. I grant you, as I was down and out of breath, and so was he. But he rose, bold and instant, and we fought a long hour by Shrewsbury clock. If I may be believed, so, if not, let them that should reward valor bear the sin upon their own heads. I'll take it upon my death. I gave him this wound in the thigh. If the man were alive and would deny it, zounds, I would make him eat a piece of my sword.
This is the strangest tale that ever I heard.
This is the strangest fellow, brother John. Come, bring your luggage nobly on your back. For my part, if a lie may do thee grace, I'll gild it with the happiest terms I have. The trumpet sounds retreat. The day is ours. Come, brother, let us to the highest of the field to see what friends are living, who are dead.
I'll follow, as they say, for reward. He that rewards me, God reward him. If I do grow great, I'll grow less. For I'll purge and live cleanly, as a nobleman should do.
Okay, that was great, everybody. Was looking forward to that, and I wasn't disappointed with what I saw. It's not just the performance, the great scene, and the performances. I really like. It's not just this scene, but we're seeing how we're getting better. Not just the challenge of preparing on a moment's notice, being totally cold, but multiple people are. The quick improvising, not just of the performance, but improvising costumes and props that are from just what they've got lying around the house. I mean, that's a lot of. I should even mention that in selling this, in talking the Wheel of Shakespeare challenge up to other people about the whole fun of it. I mentioned the fun of not knowing what's going to come up, and doing the performance on a moment's notice, but the whipping up the props and costumes on a moment's notice is really cool too, and that's becoming an additional appeal that I don't think any of us really thought of it when we started, but we're and it just shows how we're getting better all the time. I really like that. So good job to the people who threw together costumes for this. And up next we have 12th Night, Act 3, Scene 1. Olivia and Viola. It's going to be so Eleanor and Shelia are going to be Olivia and Viola. Where's no one? Here she is.
And my name is Eleanor.
Eleanor. Sorry if I'm saying that. So Olivia and Viola. Okay, you both are ready to go?
Hold on 1 second. My script suddenly disappeared, but it didn't go far. Okay.
Okay, you ready? Okay, so whenever you're ready, go ahead, you two.
I don't know where we're starting exactly.
Let the garden door be shut.
Let the garden door be shut and leave me to my hearing. Give me your hand, sir.
My duty, madam, and most humble service.
What is your name?
Cesario is your servant's name, fair princess.
My servant, sir. 'Twas never a merry world since lowly feigning was called compliment. Your servant to the Count Orsino, youth.
And he is yours, and his must needs be yours. Your servant's servant is your servant, madam.
For him I think not on him. For his thoughts would they were blanks, rather than filled with me.
Madam, I come to whet your gentle thoughts on his behalf.
Oh, by your leave, I pray you. I bade you never speak again of him. But would you undertake another suit? I had rather hear you to solicit that than music from the spheres.
Dear lady,
Give me leave, beseech you. I did send after the last enchantment you did hear a ring in chase of you, so did I abuse myself, my servant, and I fear me you. Under your hard construction must I sit, to force that on you in a shameful cunning, which you knew none of yours. What might you think? Had you not set mine honor at the stake, and baited it with all the unmuzzled thoughts that tyrannous heart can think? To one of your receiving enough is shown. A cypress, not a bosom, hides my heart. So let me hear you speak.
I pity you.
That's a degree to love.
No, not agrees, for 'tis a vulgar proof that very oft we pity enemies.
Well, then methinks 'tis time to smile again. O world, how apt the poor are to be proud! If one should be a prey, how much better to fall before the lion than the wolf. The clock upbraids me with the waste of time. Be not afraid, good youth, I will not have you. And yet, when wit and youth is come to harvest, your wife is like to reap a proper man. There lies your way due west.
And then westward ho! Grace and good disposition attend your ladyship. You'll nothing, madam, to my lord by me?
Stay. I prithee tell me what thou think'st of me.
If that you do think you are not what you are.
If I think so, I think the same of you.
Then think you right. I am not what I am.
I would you were as I would have you be.
Would it be better, madam, than I am? I wish it might, for now I am your fool.
Oh, what a deal of scorn looks beautiful in the contempt and anger of his lip! A murderous guilt shows not itself more soon than love that would seem hid. Love's night is noon. Cesario, by the roses of the spring, by maidenhood, honor, truth, and everything, I love thee so, that maugre all thy pride, nor wit nor reason can my passion hide. Do not extort thy reasons from this cause, for that I woo. Thou therefore hast no cause, but rather reason thus with reason fetter. Love sought is good, but given unsought is better.
By innocence I swear, and by my youth, I have one heart, one bosom, and one truth, and that no woman has, nor ever none shall mistress be of it, save I alone. And so, adieu, good madam. Never more will I my master's tears to you deplore.
Yet come again, for thou perhaps mayst move that heart which now abhors to like his love.
Okay, very nice. Lastly, we have we have Ted and Elizabeth, who are going to be Ferdinand and Miranda in The Tempest. We can we'll just take it from the top as a short monologue from Ferdinand that starts it, and Prospero he's just there watching over. He makes some comments, so we can easily skip those lines, and you can play the whole scene without him.
Excuse me. What act? What scene?
Act 3, Scene 1, I believe.
Ted, I put it in the chat.
No, I have it here. It starts with there be some sports are painful.
Yes. So that's where we'll start from, and just skip. You can easily skip Prospero without. Okay. So whenever you're ready, go ahead.
I'll come in when I come in.
There be some sports are painful, and their labor delight in them sets off. Some kinds of baseness are nobly undergone, and most poor matters point to rich ends. This my mean task would be as heavy to me as odious, but the mistress which I serve quickens what's dead, and makes my labors pleasures. Oh, she is 10 times more gentle than her father's crabbed, and he's composed of harshness. I must remove some thousands of these logs and pile them up. On a sore injunction, my sweet mistress weeps when she sees me work, and says, such baseness had never like executor. I forget, but these sweet thoughts do even refresh my labors. Most busy lest when I do it.
Alas, now pray you work not so hard. I would the lightning had burnt up those logs that you were enjoined to pile. Pray set it down and rest you. When this burns, 'twill weep for having wearied you. My father is hard at study. Pray you, now rest yourself. He's safe for these 3 hours.
Oh, dear mistress, the sun will set before I shall discharge what I must strive to do.
If you'll sit down, I'll bear your logs the while. Pray, give me that. I'll carry it to the pile.
No, precious creature, I had rather crack my sinews, break my back, than you should such dishonor undergo, while I sit lazy by.
It would become me as well as it does you, and I should do it with much more ease, for my goodwill is to it, and yours it is against.
Oh, poor worm, thou art infected. This visitation shows it.
You look wearily.
No, noble mistress, 'tis fresh morning with me when you are by at night. I do beseech you, chiefly that I might set it in my prayers. What is your name?
Miranda. Oh, my father, I have broke your hest to say so.
Admired Miranda, indeed the top of admiration, worth what's dearest to the world. Full many a lady I have eyed with best regard, and many a time the harmony of their tongues hath into bondage brought my too diligent ear. For several virtues have I liked several women, never any with so fun soul, but some defect in her did quarrel with the noblest grace she owed, and put it to the foil. But you, oh you, so perfect and so peerless, are created of every creature's best.
I do not know one of my sex. No woman's face remember, save from my glass mine own. Nor have I seen more than I may call men than you, good friend, and my dear father. How features are abroad, I am skilless of, but by my modesty, the jewel in my dower, I would not wish any companion in the world but you, nor can imagination form a shape besides yourself to like of. But I prattle something too wildly, and my father's precepts I therein do forget.
I am in my condition a prince, Miranda. I do think a king. I would not so, and would no more endure this wooden slavery than to suffer the flesh fly blow my mouth. Hear my soul speak. The very instant that I saw you did my heart fly to your service. There resides to make me slave to it, and for your sake am I this patient log man.
Do you love me?
O heaven, O earth, bear witness to this sound, and crown what I profess with kind event if I speak true. If hollowly invert what best is boded me to mischief, I, beyond all limit of what else in the world, do love, prize, honor you.
I am a fool to weep at what I am glad of.
Fair encounter of two most rare affections, heaven's grace, heaven's rain grace on that which breeds between them. Wherefore weep you?
At mine unworthiness that dare not offer what I desire to give, and much less take what I shall die to want. But this is trifling, and all the more it seeks to hide itself, the bigger bulk it shows. Hence bashful cunning, and prompt me, plain and holy innocence. I am your wife, if you will marry me. If not, I'll die your maid, to be your fellow. You may deny me, but I'll be your servant, whether you will or no.
My mistress dearest, and I thus humble ever.
My husband, then.
I, with a heart as willing as bondage ere of freedom, here's my hand.
And mine, with my heart in it. And now, farewell, till half an hour hence.
1,000,000.
Okay, awesome. So that wraps us up for this week. Last thing we'll do is always, let's take a look at what the larger cast scene that we're going to do next week will be, so we're ready for that, and the others we won't determine until then. Next week, let's be prepared for doing something for me. Antony and Cleopatra, Act 3, Scene 13. This is a good scene. The Phidias comes as the representative from Caesar Augustus, and he says, "Take hence this Jack and whip him." And they realize what. So it's Cleopatra, Antony, Enobarbus, Phidias. What's 1, 2, 3, 4? So there'll be 5 roles. And then a couple smaller roles. There's the ambassador and there's the servant. We're going to combine those into one. The person is the ambassador. And so those are 5 roles from that. Cleopatra, Antony, Enobarbus, Phidias, and the servant, who will also be the ambassador, the servant character. So those are 5 roles plus roles from whatever else is spun on the wheel that comes up next week. So we'll look forward to doing that. And the other scenes next week. We'll see you guys next week. Bye now.